Have you ever worked on a piece or a section of a piece and never get anywhere with it? You're frustrated and you're thinking, if I only just worked on this for another 3 hours, I'm gonna make it. But after 3 hours, you realize you're still nowhere close to what you think it should sound like. Hi, I'm Jazer, I'm a pianist, and in this video, I want to share with you why practicing can be a bad thing. Before we get into the discussion and the 3 practice strategies, remember to like and subscribe to this channel so you get more piano tutorials just like this one. I want to also give you 3 practice strategies at the end of the video that will actually give you some productive results when you're practicing. As pianists, practicing is what we do. If you think about it, we actually spend much more time on practicing as opposed to performing for our friends or on stage. A 4-minute piece may take you anywhere from 4 to 40 hours to master. Since we spend so much time on practicing, it's vital that we consider carefully about what happens during our practice. Being busy is not the same as being productive. I feel like that's so important, I should say that again. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Let's look at why more practice can be a bad thing. I'm going to use a personal example in this video. At the point of recording this video, I'm working on a Chopin piece and it's still in progress. I'm nowhere near mastering it, and I have some struggle points in this piece that I want to share with you today. Now, the specific part I'm struggling with in this piece is in bar 22. So I'm just going to play from bar 21. Okay. Now, this is one of the harder parts of the piece because in that bit where it comes down, there is a really large gap between your index and your thumb. So massive gap, and suddenly you're going to a small gap again, and a big gap, small gap, big gap. And that's very... See, I wasn't playing that really clearly, but you can see that's actually really, really difficult. Really hard to get it correctly and at this lightning fast speed. Now, for a long time, whenever I was practicing this piece, I just kept stuffing up that part. I never played it correctly. It's so funny that every time I make a mistake there, I always somehow in my head think, oh, maybe next time, maybe the next time I play it, I'm going to get that part correctly. And after struggling with this for a few weeks, I had a realization. I imagined sort of coming outside of myself and looking at myself from outside. So let's say Jazer has just practiced that in a span of 3 days, let's say 90 times. And in the 90 times, he has played it correctly 1 time. And he has played it incorrectly 89 times. Now, what are the chances of him playing the next time that part correctly? If he's stuffed it up 89 times and he's played correctly 1 time, well, likely he's not going to play correctly on his 91st time, right? Because he has practiced it wrongly for 89 times. And then I realized that if I actually wanted to improve on that part, I had to do something different. I had to use some different strategies, and I had to isolate just this part out. I had to isolate just that part out, and I worked on that for something like 30 minutes, 1 day, nothing else, just that bar, and I am starting to get some results from it. It's not perfect, but I am starting to improve in it. Think about it this way, guys. Every time you practice something, you are making whatever you're practicing stronger. If you're practicing correct things, you're improving. If you're practicing wrong things, unfortunately, you are making those wrong things stronger and more likely to happen the next time you play the piece again. Something important at play here is called muscle memory. Each time you do something, you are reinforcing it, giving it more juice, and giving it more likelihood of happening again the next time you try to do it again. So for example, wow, that really hurts my brain. So let's say a student is learning that. Okay, let's say you're learning that and you're playing that wrong note there. Instead of the F, you're playing that E there. Now, if you were to do that 10 times, you are actually helping it to get better. It's almost like your hand is downloading that information And the more times you do it, the harder it is to change it later. So it's really important. Really important to spot the mistake and then to change it right there and then, so that your brain starts to learn the correct things and it's able to move forward with the correct method. At this point in the video, I hope you can start to see why practicing can in fact be a bad thing if you do it wrongly. And that's because you're feeding the mistakes, you're helping the mistakes to get better. Sometimes you as the student, you might not be aware of these mistakes. So it's really important that your teacher spots out these mistakes and communicates them to you at a really early stage. Just before we get to our practice strategies, I just want to encourage you to think about a deeper concept. And this deeper concept is honesty. When we're working on a piece, are we able to forego the pleasures of playing it and get to the hard work? Actually, when we make a mistake or we make errors that we're not supposed to, are we able to go, okay, let's stop playing through the piece. Can I now sit there for 20 minutes and actually work this problem out? I know it's not going to sound good. I know it's going to be hard and arduous, but can I right now suffer in the short term so that I can enjoy the long-term greatness of being able to play that part? So this idea of sacrificing a short-term pain for a long-term gain. Once we simply just work out this part for 30 minutes or a whole hour, then next time we are able to play it successfully, and you're going to feel so good about it once you've solved that problem. Okay, now getting into our 3 practice strategies that are actually going to help you to get some results. Now, the first practice strategy is to practice at a speed where you are making no mistakes, even if it means slowing down at the difficult parts. Okay, so for example, in this piece here, I was having a lot of trouble in that bit. So in the parts leading up to it, this part, so just slow it down. Okay, just helping my brain to try to understand and get the right movements. Okay, and just as I was talking about previously in this video, this idea of playing it correctly once versus 89 times, I want to try and increase the number of times that I'm playing it correctly so that I'm actually building the right muscle memory for that particular section. And give this a try, so that this idea of you sort of playing a game with yourself, you're playing a piece from start to finish, and you're not allowed to make any mistakes, but you are allowed to slow down. Slow down so you actually play the right notes. Second practice strategy I have for you is to use a metronome. If you don't have a metronome, you don't need to buy one. You can literally go to Google and search up metronome, and they have an inbuilt metronome in their web browser. Now, this practice strategy is pretty different to the previous one in that now you must play everything at the same speed. You can't slow a part down, even if that part is difficult. This is a great way to test the security of those parts. With that metronome in the background, then that means you need to be able to play everything at speed without any slowing down. This method tests the security of your parts, right? To have that metronome happening in the background and for you to be able to play. It really is a big, honest assessment of if you can play your parts according to the beat. Now, if the metronome beat is too fast, you can always slow it down. And I always recommend to students play at a speed where you can actually play the right notes in a clean way. It's much better to play compared to, right, we don't want to do that. We want to actually play things cleanly. Slow it down and play things cleanly. And the last practice strategy I have for you is to record yourself. Just like what I'm doing right now, I love recording myself and then assessing myself, listening to my playing after I record, just to spot out if there are anything that is a bit unpolished, because when I'm practicing my piece, my brain is really consumed with a lot of stuff. So I love recording myself to later view when my brain is completely freed up to just listen to the music and to see what's good and what's bad about it. Alright guys, so this concludes the video, why more practice can be bad for you. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the ideas that were discussed in this video. That's all for today, catch you in the next video.